So my experience of adoring the Lord in the Blessed Sacrament really began during this time of immense fear in my life. It was vocational discernment, lots of things going on in my life. I was struggling with these various sins and these various just problems that I had no idea what to do with, and I was just carrying them as a really heavy burden. And in adoration, after a few months of just kind of trying to figure out, like, what am I supposed to do? I still am, figuring that out. But it became this shift. Because I was carrying these burdens, the yoke of these burdens, this weight. And what I started to notice, and I have noticed continually so, is as the Lord says, take my yoke upon you. Like a yoke, there's a priest at the seminary who says, is specially fit for the animal that is going to be wearing it. It's not too tight, it's not too heavy. It's perfectly fitted, and it goes over two animals. There's straps, there's the wooden beam. And so the yoke of Christ is specifically fit for the both of us, for him and for me. He's carrying the weight. It's sweet, it's light. And I noticed the shift from this heavy yoke of my own burdens to the sweet and light yoke of Christ, of his peace. And in adoration, all this fear, the burden of everything that I mentioned, it was just slowly being lifted and replaced with this yoke of Christ. And he was carrying me, he was taking me with him. And this is still my experience of adoration, because we can't produce any kind of prayer. We can't just show up and say, this is what I want to do in adoration today, because we get distracted, our minds go all over the place, we fall asleep, we start thinking about an argument that we had, and we start winning that argument in our head. All of these various places that our minds go. But adoration is this great opportunity for us to just sit in that yoke with Christ, to just know that I don't have to do anything because he's the one guiding me. He's the one leading me in the yoke. It could even be silent. I may not say anything. I might just be there sitting in silence with Christ. But I know that he's the one doing the work. Because when I was the one trying to move forward in the yoke, it became heavy and it became a burden. But by going at his pace, by walking with him, it becomes his work that he is doing in my life. Adoration is not my time, my work. It's Christ's work in me. So whether it's dry, whether it's difficult, it's painful, I don't know what to do, that's his moment to work in my life, to empty me of my ego, of my sin, my anxieties, my fears, and to fill me with his life, to fill me with his love, ultimately to be poured out for his people, and for my own sanctification. That's his time of sanctifying me. Otherwise, it becomes my time for sanctifying myself, for perfecting myself, which, as much as I try, is impossible. So adoration is this moment of just being in the presence of Christ, allowing him to work in my own heart. And so I invite all of you to, in this time of adoration, to look at Christ in the Blessed Sacrament, to look at Jesus, and regardless of what you feel, regardless of your circumstances or your thoughts, just focus on the fact that that is him, that it is him in the monstrance, his yoke around you and moving with you. Because any experience you have, any encounter with the Lord, ultimately it's a gift from Him. It becomes His work. And so it's this great opportunity for each one of us to allow Him to be present to us, allow Him to encounter us, instead of us trying to do all of this work.